They called them the Dragon Twins. Untouchable, deadly, whispered about in hushed tones across Seoul's darkest corners. I should have run when they said my sister's life depended on becoming theirs. But when their eyes found mine, something shifted inside my chest. I shouldn't hunger for their touch, their intensity, their absolute obsession. I shouldn't desire two men who could destroy me without blinking. But I do. Heaven forgive me. I want them both, even if it means losing myself completely. Welcome back to Alina Korean Stories family. Just like I promised, here's another explosive version of this tale with visuals. Don't leave until the end. You're about to experience a wild ride. Before we dive in, beautiful people, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. It's the best way you can support us as we continue delivering captivating stories that'll keep you hooked every single day. The storm raged over Seoul's streets the night everything changed for me. I was trapped in the backseat of a sleek black Audi, expensive leather surrounding me, watching city lights streak past through tears I was too stubborn to let fall. The silent driver had collected me from the hospital where my older sister lay fighting for her life, medical debt crushing us like an avalanche. Stage 4 cancer, maybe 8 months if we were lucky. The oncologist mentioned experimental trials in Germany, but the price tag was laughable. For $1 million. We couldn't scrape together $4,000. My phone lit up with a text that altered my entire existence. Private number. We have the power to save her. Come to the Signal penthouse suite. Come by yourself. Every rational thought told me to ignore it. Delete it. Block the number. Instead, I climbed into that car like prey walking into a trap because desperate sisters make reckless choices. The luxury hotel rose before us, all sharp angles and golden lights. The kind of establishment where girls like me only existed as staff. The driver opened my door without speaking. Rain drenched my cheap coat immediately. I sprinted inside. The lobby stretched empty at this hour. Only night personnel who saw straight through me. The elevator climb to the penthouse felt like rising toward my sentencing. When those doors parted, two men waited, mirror images. But similarities ended there. The left one dressed entirely in black, slouched against the wall with crossed arms, eyes frozen like December. The right one smiled, though warmth never touched those eyes, wearing a pewter suit worth more than everything I owned. Both criminally handsome in that way that made my pulse stutter. Jasmine Cole. The smiling one spoke first, voice like aged bourbon. I'm Kim Jae-won. This is my twin brother, Taehyun. Please enter. He motioned toward the suite behind them. Everything in me screamed danger, but my sister's fragile face flashed through my mind. I walked past them into wealth that felt obscene. Massive windows showcasing Seoul, furniture resembling museum pieces, a space larger than my entire building. Taehyun moved to the bar without invitation, pouring 3 glasses of amber liquid. Jae-won led me to a cream leather couch with a hand on my lower back, too intimate for strangers. You're questioning how we learned about your sister. Jae-won settled across from me, elegant legs crossing. Taehyun offered me a glass, fingers brushing mine intentionally. I flinched away. His smile sharpened, predatory. We make it our priority to know everything in Seoul. Your sister's situation reached us. We can rescue her. My heart slammed against my ribs. Why help strangers? We're invisible to people like you. Taehyun finally spoke, voice gravel and smoke. You won't be invisible anymore. Not to us. We require payment. I abandoned the untouched glass, standing. I'm broke, obviously. Jae-won's laughter came soft, almost gentle. Money isn't what we need, Jasmine. We need you. Those words suspended in air like poison. I bolted for the exit. Taehyun moved faster, his body blocking my escape. Pure muscle wrapped in expensive fabric. Sit down, listen, then decide if your stubborn pride matters more than your sister's survival. The brutality of that truth made me want to scream. Instead, I returned to that couch. Jae-won leaned closer, intense focus locked on me. We run the Kim family empire, powerful, connected, and lacking something money cannot purchase. Respectability. We require a wife, Taehyun stated bluntly. One woman for both of us. Unconventional, but we don't operate by rules. I laughed, borderline hysterical. You expect me to marry you? Both of you? That's completely insane. Jae-won's expression remained unchanged. Your sister has 8 months maximum. We can have her flying to Germany within 48 hours. Premier doctors, elite facility, private estate for recovery, lifetime medical coverage. All we demand is you marry us, remain with us for 3 years minimum, attend our functions, and perform the role of dedicated wife. And behind closed doors? My voice trembled. What happens in private? Taehyun's smile turned dangerous. Nothing without your consent. We're not savages, Jasmine. We're businessmen requiring a bride. Anything beyond the agreement is your decision entirely. I studied them. These two gorgeous, lethal strangers offering to save my sister's life for mine. I need time to consider. Jae-won stood, produced a card from his pocket. You have 10 hours. Your sister's window is closing. Treatment must begin immediately or become worthless. The ride home blurred together. My tiny apartment felt suffocating, grimy, impossibly small. I collapsed on my mattress and sobbed until nothing remained. Then I phoned the hospital. My sister was resting, the nurse reported, comfortable for now, but her condition was deteriorating. By dawn, they'd need to discuss end-of-life arrangements. I stared at the business card. Kim Jae-won, Kim Taehyun, a number embossed in silver. My sister had given up everything after our parents died. Worked herself sick to raise me. Never complained, never demanded anything. Now she was dying, and I held the power to rescue her. I called at 4:30 in the morning. Jae-won answered instantly like he'd been expecting it. Yes. One word. That's all I managed. Intelligent choice. We'll arrange everything. A car arrives at 1. Pack minimally. We'll supply everything necessary. He disconnected before I could reconsider. I spent the remaining hours randomly stuffing clothes into a bag. My landlord would handle the apartment. My cafe job would replace me. None of it mattered if my sister lived. The Audi appeared precisely at 1. Different driver this time, elderly with compassionate eyes that confirmed this was reality. The estate sat in Pyeongchang-dong where Seoul's elite breathed different air. Gates opened smoothly. Security nodded acknowledgement. The structure itself merged cutting-edge design with traditional Korean elements, all precise lines and graceful angles. Jae-won stood at the entrance, casual wear still radiating wealth. Welcome to your new home, Jasmine. Home felt like the wrong word. He guided me through rooms capable of housing dozens, each more breathtaking than before. Your quarters occupy the 4th floor. Complete privacy. Our rooms flank yours, connected through interior doors. You control all locks. They open only from your side. My quarters exceeded my entire previous apartment. Massive bed draped in silk. Lounge area. Walk-in closet overflowing with clothes in my perfect size. Bathroom featuring a tub built for multiple people. How did you get my measurements? Jae-won leaned casually against the doorframe. We're meticulous. Everything there belongs to you. Wear whatever appeals, discard the rest. This is your home for the next 3 years minimum. 3 years. Felt simultaneously like imprisonment and salvation. Where's your brother? As if manifesting from thought, Taehyun appeared behind Jae-won, pushing past into my personal space. Getting comfortable? His eyes scanned me, evaluating. I straightened my spine, refusing intimidation. Your brother was leaving so I could settle in. Taehyun's laugh came sharp, brief. I appreciate her. She has backbone. He advanced until his cologne surrounded me. Something dark, forest-like that made my head swim. Let's clarify something immediately. We don't play games. We don't manipulate. You're here because we struck a deal. Honor it and everything's fine. Violate it and Jae-won gripped his shoulder. Stop. You're frightening her. Taehyun stepped back, eyes never releasing mine. She should be frightened. This world devours weakness. I'm not weak. The words emerged stronger than I felt. Taehyun's smile showed teeth. Excellent. You'll need that steel. Then he vanished, leaving thick tension. Jae-won exhaled heavily. I apologize for my twin. He's aggressive, but he speaks truth. This world is brutal. We have adversaries. You being our wife makes you vulnerable. That's why security accompanies you everywhere outside this house. My stomach dropped. I'm a captive. He shook his head firmly. You're safeguarded. Massive difference. Understand it quickly. He departed too, the door closing with finality that constricted my chest. I unpacked mechanically, hanging designer pieces I'd never choose, discovering shoes costing more than months of wages. A knock interrupted my spiral. An elegant older woman entered, kind smile warming her face. I'm Mrs. Park. I manage this household. The masters wanted you to see this. She handed me a tablet. On screen was my sister, confused but healthier than I'd seen in forever, sitting in what resembled a private aircraft. She's already traveling to Germany. The specialists are prepared. She'll be established in the estate tonight. Tears broke through. Mrs. Park squeezed my shoulder gently. You made a courageous choice, Miss Jasmine. Few sisters would sacrifice this much. I wanted to explain it wasn't sacrifice without options, but she was already exiting, mentioning dinner at 8. I watched that video repeatedly until my phone rang. Unknown caller. I answered. Jasmine. My sister's voice cracked with confusion. Baby girl, what's happening? These people said you arranged everything but the expense, I interrupted. Don't worry about expense. Just focus on healing. I love you. I love you too. But Jasmine, what did you do? Everything. Nothing. Traded my future for hers. I found an incredible opportunity. A really exceptional position. Just get better, okay? I'll visit soon. I ended the call before more questions came, before I shattered completely. The remainder of that day passed as Mrs. Park toured the mansion, explained schedules, introduced staff who regarded me with curiosity and something else. Sympathy perhaps, or recognition. Dinner felt ceremonial, 3 of us at a table designed for 40. Jae-won made pleasant conversation about Seoul, about my previous life. Tae-hyun ate silently, observing me like I was an equation to solve. The wedding happens tomorrow, Jae-won mentioned casually, like discussing weather. I choked on water. Tomorrow? Tae-hyun finally contributed. We operate efficiently. No purpose delaying. Small ceremony, legal necessities, few witnesses. You'll sign documents making you Mrs. Kim. To both of us. The possessiveness in his tone raised goosebumps. Shouldn't I have input on timing? Jae-won's smile conveyed apology. You gave input when you agreed. Everything else is logistics. I stood abruptly. I need air. Neither prevented me fleeing to the gardens, a manicured sanctuary that felt like another cage. The pool glowed sapphire in darkness, steam rising from heated water. I sat poolside, allowing tears to fall privately. Footsteps approached. I didn't turn. Leave me alone. Tae-hyun sat beside me anyway, too close, his leg pressing against mine. You're wondering if you made the wrong choice. Not a question. Every second since that hotel. He remained quiet momentarily. My mother died when I was 17. Cancer like your sister's. We had resources for treatment, but she declined. Said she'd lived fully, that we should preserve resources for the family legacy. She died suffering because she was proud. I looked at him then. His face stayed blank, but something flickered in those eyes. Ancient grief. I'm sorry. He shrugged dismissively. Don't be. I'm explaining because I understand your position. You love your sister enough to sacrifice everything. That's not weakness. It's power. The same power we need in a wife. Before I could respond, he stood and walked away, leaving me more confused than before. That night, I barely slept in sheets too luxurious, in a room too silent, in a life no longer mine but not quite theirs either. Morning arrived with Mrs. Park and a styling team who descended like elegant locusts. Hair, cosmetics, nails. I was transformed and polished until I became unrecognizable. The dress they presented was elegant yet striking. Ivory silk flowing like liquid. Traditional Korean details blended with contemporary design. I looked like a bride. I felt like an actress in someone else's production. The ceremony occurred in the mansion's gardens beneath an arch of ivory roses. An officiant asking no questions. Several witnesses I didn't recognize. And the twins standing united in matching charcoal suits, looking like they commanded the universe. The vows were transactional, sterile. Do you accept these men? I said yes because the alternative meant watching my sister die. They said yes for motivations I still couldn't comprehend. Rings materialized. Platinum bands with diamonds capturing light like flames. Jae-won slid his onto my finger with surprising gentleness. Taehyun's touch was commanding, his eyes burning as he secured the metal in place. You may kiss your bride. Jae-won moved first, cradling my face with unexpected tenderness, pressing his lips to mine softly, briefly. Taehyun wasn't tender. He pulled me flush against him, claimed my mouth with fire and dominance, making a declaration. The reception following exceeded my expectations. Seoul's elite flooded the mansion's grand ballroom, all calculating eyes and plastic smiles. I performed my role, hand alternating between twins, accepting congratulations on the season's most scandalous marriage. She's exquisite, a woman told Jae-won, examining me like decoration. Where did you discover her? His arm tightened possessively around my waist. She discovered us. Fortunate, since most women couldn't manage both of us. The woman laughed artificially, but her eyes calculated. I felt like prey among predators who all knew secrets I didn't. Taehyun rescued me, pulling me onto the dance floor without permission. His hands splayed across my lower back, holding me too close as we moved to unfamiliar music. Smile, he murmured against my ear. Everyone's evaluating, determining if we made an error choosing you. I forced my expression to brighten. Did you? His eyes met mine, dark and inscrutable. Ask me in 12 months. The song concluded, but he didn't release me immediately. You look stunning, terrified, but stunning. Then he surrendered me to Jae-won's waiting embrace, who danced gentler, kinder, but equally possessive. The celebration continued for hours. When the final guest departed, I was depleted, my face aching from manufactured smiles. Mrs. Park appeared like magic. Come, dear. Let's remove that gown. I followed her upstairs, let her unzip me, extract the pins from my hair. She left me in silk pajamas, probably costing more than my entire previous wardrobe. A knock on the connecting door to Jae-won's room made me freeze. Jasmine, may I enter? I wanted to refuse. Instead, yes. He entered wearing casual clothes, damp hair from showering, appearing younger and less intimidating. I know today was overwhelming. I wanted to check on you. He sat in the chair opposite my bed, maintaining distance. We're married now, which makes you family. We protect family above all else. That includes from ourselves when necessary. I studied him carefully. Why me? Genuinely? Don't mention respectability. You could hire anyone, compensate them sufficiently to perform this role. Why specifically me? His smile turned melancholy. Because when we saw your photograph in the hospital files our investigator obtained, something clicked. You weren't performing beauty, weren't calculating angles, just a sister desperate to save family. That kind of devotion is exceptional. So you exploited it. The words emerged bitter. He didn't flinch. Yes. We're not virtuous men, Jasmine. We've committed terrible acts building this empire, but we honor our agreements. Your sister receives the finest care available, you'll want for nothing. And after 3 years, if you choose to leave, we'll release you with sufficient resources to build whatever life you desire. It should have been reassuring. It felt like a prison sentence with distant parole. And if I leave before 3 years? His expression hardened subtly. Then the agreement is nullified. We withdraw medical support. The cruelty stole my breath. You'd let her die? He stood, moved to the exit. We'd return to the situation before we intervened. What happens after is unfortunate, but not our obligation. He paused at the threshold. Rest, Jasmine. Tomorrow we begin teaching you how to survive in our world. You'll need every lesson. Then he vanished, the door locking from my side with a click sounding like finality. I lay in darkness, married to 2 strangers, bound by an agreement written in my sister's blood, wondering how I'd survive 3 years without losing myself completely. Sleep came eventually, restless and filled with dreams where I ran but never escaped. Morning arrived with sunlight too intense and Mrs. Park's gentle knock. The masters request you join them for breakfast. I dressed in designer casual, jeans fitting perfectly, a silk blouse in midnight blue. The dining room felt less intimidating in daylight, though no less extravagant. Both twins occupied one end of the elongated table, comfortable in each other's proximity in a way speaking of lifelong connection. Taehyun glanced up first, his eyes tracking my approach with that intensity one was learning to recognize. "Sleep well?" Jae-won asked, pulling out the chair between them. I sat, hyper-aware of being flanked. As well as possible under circumstances. Taehyun poured me coffee without asking preferences, but somehow prepared it perfectly. Cream, 2 sugars. We have an intensive day. First, security orientation. You need to comprehend the threats we face, the people to avoid, the protocols keeping you safe. Then weapons instruction. I nearly choked on my coffee. Weapons? Jae-won's smile was gentle but resolute. You're a Kim now. You need to defend yourself. The security orientation happened in an office I hadn't seen before. All monitors and computers and guards appearing capable of killing barehanded. The security chief, a man named Director Han with scarred knuckles and frozen eyes, walked me through threat assessments, rival families, business adversaries, people who'd exploit me as leverage against the twins. You never travel anywhere without minimum 2 guards. You don't engage strangers. You don't accept beverages you didn't watch being prepared. You trust nobody outside this residence except the masters. It was overwhelming and terrifying and crystallized my new reality. The shooting range occupied the basement. Naturally, they maintained a private shooting range. Taehyun handed me a pistol, smaller than anticipated, cold and substantial. This is a Sig Sauer P365. Compact, dependable, simple to operate. You'll practice until it feels natural. Jae-won positioned himself behind me, adjusting my stance, his hands on my hips, his chest against my back. Feet shoulder width, arms stable. Exhale when you squeeze the trigger. His breath tickled my ear, destroying concentration. Taehyun's voice cut through distraction. Focus. Someday your survival might depend on this. I squeezed the trigger. The recoil startled me. The sound, even through protection, made me flinch. The target remained pristine. Again, Taehyun commanded. We practiced for 90 minutes until my arms burned and I'd hit the target occasionally. Improving, Jae-won said, his hand squeezing my shoulder. You learn quickly. Taehyun's praise came more grudgingly. You'll manage. Something about earning his approval, even reluctantly, made me feel accomplished in ways I didn't want to examine. By lunch, I was exhausted, overwhelmed, questioning what I'd committed to beyond just a marriage arrangement. The afternoon brought different challenges, a charity gala that evening where I'd debut publicly as Mrs. Kim. Mrs. Park and her team returned, transforming me into someone belonging on their arms. The gown was emerald silk, molded to my curves with a slit positioned high but appearing sophisticated rather than provocative. Hairstyled in an elegant updo. Cosmetics making my eyes appear mysterious. Jewelry probably costing more than my sister's entire treatment. When I viewed my reflection, I saw a stranger, polished, expensive, untouchable. The twins waited downstairs, both in tailored tuxedos, making them appear magazine perfect. Jae-won's eyes widened appreciatively. You're breathtaking. Taehyun's gaze was darker, hungrier. She'll suffice. But the way his jaw clenched said he thought considerably more. The gala occupied a museum, the kind of venue where admission cost thousands and everyone measured value by bank balances. We arrived in formation, our vehicle flanked by security, making a statement. Cameras flashed as we exited. Jae-won took my left arm, Taehyun my right, presenting unified authority. Questions shouted from media. Mrs. Kim, how does it feel being married to both brothers? I smiled, remained silent. Let them guide me inside. The interior overflowed with Seoul's most influential, politicians, business tycoons, celebrities. Everyone wanted to meet the woman who'd captured the Kim twins. We circulated, them introducing me performing the devoted wife role. It was draining. Then I noticed her, a woman so stunning she made my breath catch, draped over Taehyun's arm the moment I'd stepped away to the restroom. She embodied everything I wasn't. Korean, refined, clearly from their world. She laughed at something he said, her hand on his chest in a way speaking of history. Jealousy struck me like a physical blow. I watched from across the space as Jae-won joined them, the woman shifting her attention between both twins like she possessed them. They weren't rejecting her advances. Were they enjoying this? Testing me? I lifted my chin, turned away, found the bar and ordered water with trembling hands. They're attempting to provoke jealousy. A voice beside me, a man approximately my age with compassionate eyes and an expensive suit. I'm Park Min-jae, family acquaintance, and you're the enigmatic Mrs. Kim creating all the speculation. I managed a smile, feeling fragile. Is everyone observing? Min-jae's laugh came gentle. Absolutely. You're the most fascinating development in Seoul's elite circles in years. A woman married to both Kim brothers. That scandal wrapped in mystery, wrapped in wealth. He glanced at the twins and their stunning companion. That's Yoon Se-ra. She's been pursuing one of them for 6 years. Can't determine which, so she chases both. They're usually not subtle about rejection. Tonight, they're playing games. His words confirmed my suspicion. This was a test. I refused to fail. Excuse me. I walked directly to them, inserted myself between the twins and Se-ra with a smile. Darling, I addressed Taehyun, placing my hand on his arm possessively. You promised me that dance. His eyes glittered with approval. Did I? He extended his hand, leading me to the dance floor while Se-ra's expression soured. We moved to orchestral music, his hand firm on my waist. Jealous? He murmured. Not remotely. Just reclaiming what's mine according to our contract. His laugh was low, dangerous. Liar. Your eyes were throwing daggers. I met his gaze directly. Don't manipulate me. If this marriage is going to function, even as business, we need mutual respect. He spun me unexpectedly, pulling me closer. You're correct. That was inappropriate. But I needed to understand if you cared at all or if this is purely transactional. I wanted to claim it was strictly business. But that jealous spike revealed different truth. I don't understand what this is yet, I admitted. But I don't appreciate being tested. His expression softened marginally. Fair enough. No more tests. The song concluded. Jae-won cut in immediately, assuming his brother's position with practiced grace. I apologize for Se-ra. Taehyun's methods are primitive. His dance style was smoother, more classical. Are you angry? I was. Now I'm just exhausted. He pulled me closer, his hand splaying across my lower back. This world is draining. I understand. Everyone's constantly watching, evaluating, calculating advantages. But you handled it excellently. You demonstrated you won't tolerate disrespect. That earns respect here. I let my head rest briefly on his shoulder, just a moment of vulnerability. I don't belong here. His voice was soft against my hair. Not yet, but you will. We'll guide you. Already you're learning. The woman who entered tonight was uncertain. The woman dancing with me now has steel in her core. The remainder of the gala passed as a blur of introductions and calculated conversations. When we returned home, I was completely depleted. Mrs. Park helped me remove the gown and jewelry, leaving me in comfortable clothes and utter exhaustion. I just settled into bed when both connecting doors opened simultaneously. The twins entered without invitation, making my room suddenly cramped. What are you doing? Jae-won sat on my bed's edge. We need to discuss tonight. Taehyun leaned against my dresser, arms crossed. You performed well, but we need to establish something. What? My voice emerged more defensive than intended. Jae-won's expression was serious. The jealousy you experienced tonight. That will occur frequently. Women and men will attempt to use attraction to access us, to gain leverage. You can't allow it to affect you. Taehyun added. But you also can't permit anyone to disrespect your position. You walked the line perfectly tonight. Demonstrated you're not passive, but didn't create a scene. It was the most approval I'd received from him. I should have felt satisfied. Instead, exhaustion made me honest. I hated watching her touch you both. I hated that it bothered me. The admission hung heavy. Jae-won reached out, tucked hair behind my ear. Good. That indicates you're beginning to view us as more than a business arrangement. Taehyun moved closer. His intensity focused entirely on me. We're not innocent, Jasmine. We've both had women before you. But since the moment we decided you'd be ours, there's been nobody else, and there won't be. You're everything for both of us, whether this marriage is genuine or performance." The possessiveness in his tone should have frightened me. Instead, it made something warm unfurl in my chest. "I don't comprehend you," I admitted, "either of you. Why you'd be faithful to a wife you purchased." Jae-won's smile turned melancholy. "Because we're not our father. He had a wife he loved and mistresses he exploited. We watched it destroy our mother gradually. We vowed we'd never replicate that." Taehyun's jaw tightened at mentioning their mother. "When we commit, it's absolute. Even if this began as business, you're ours now. We don't share what's ours with anyone." The intensity of them both in my space, declaring these things made my head spin. "I need sleep," I managed. "This is overwhelming to process." Jae-won stood, leaned down, and pressed a kiss to my forehead. Gentle, almost fraternal. "Sleep peacefully, wife." Taehyun didn't move immediately, just observed me with those dark eyes seeing too much. Finally, he pushed off the dresser, approached my bedside, and did something unexpected. He cradled my face with both hands and kissed me, not like at the wedding. This was slower, deeper, a claiming and a question intertwined. When he withdrew, I was breathless. "Sweet dreams, little bride." Then they both vanished, doors closing, leaving me alone and confused. I touched my lips where Taehyun had kissed me, feeling the ghost of Jae-won's gentle forehead kiss, and realized with dawning horror that this fabricated marriage was becoming dangerously real in my heart. I was starting to care about them, about their approval, their attention, their touch. After only 2 days, they were infiltrating my defenses in ways I couldn't afford. This was supposed to be transactional. 3 years of performing a role in exchange for my sister's life. But lying in darkness, I admitted to myself that it was already more complicated than that. I was falling, and I didn't know how to stop. Sleep came eventually, but my dreams overflowed with dark eyes and possessive hands and kisses that felt like vows. Morning brought sunshine and the sound of shouting from downstairs. Male voices raised in confrontation. I threw on a robe and rushed down, discovering the twins in the foyer facing 4 men in expensive suits. Tension so thick it was suffocating. "You can't keep her imprisoned here indefinitely," one of the men was declaring. "The council demands to meet her. Verify she's legitimate." Taehyun's voice was pure frost. "The council can wait. She's still acclimating." The man who'd spoken, older with silver hair and a harsh face, finally noticed me on the staircase. The bride. Even more stunning than reported. "I'm Kim Dong-woo, head of the family council. Your husband's uncle." Something about how he examined me made my skin crawl. Jae-won moved between us, blocking his view. "You've met her. Now depart." Dong-woo's smile was cold. "The council meeting is mandatory Thursday evening. She needs to be presented formally, or there will be questions about this marriage's legitimacy." The threat was transparent. He departed with his associates, the door closing with finality. Taehyun punched the wall, fracturing expensive plaster. "I despise politics." Jae-won's jaw was rigid. "We anticipated this. The council must approve all family marriages. It's tradition." I descended the staircase slowly. What transpires at this meeting? Both twins looked at me, some silent communication passing between them. Finally, Jae-won spoke. "They'll interrogate you, ask questions about us, about the marriage, about your history. Searching for any excuse to claim the marriage is invalid." Taehyun added harshly. "They want to control us through marriage. Force us to marry their daughters, their nieces, anyone they can manipulate. You being an outsider threatens that. So I need to convince them we're genuine." The words tasted like ashes. "That this marriage is love, not convenience." Jae-won nodded. "Which means we have 3 days to make you appear madly in love with both of us." Taehyun's smile was sharp. "And for us to appear convincingly devoted to you. Shouldn't be challenging." The way he said it, looking at me with those intense eyes, made me shiver. What do we need to accomplish? The question opened a door I wasn't certain I was ready to enter. But my sister's life, and apparently my new life, depended on it. The following 3 days were an intensive course in performing the devoted wife. Jae-won took me to his corporate building downtown, a glass tower piercing the sky, displaying me to his business associates with his arm around my waist and kisses on my temple that felt increasingly authentic. We had lunch on a restaurant rooftop where Seoul sprawled below us. Him offering me bites of expensive cuisine, laughing at my observations, looking at me like I was his universe. "You're skilled at this," I said, watching him signal for the bill. "At what?" His smile was gentle. "Making me believe you care." His expression shifted, something vulnerable flickering across his features. What if it's not all performance anymore? The question suspended between us, weighted with possibilities I wasn't ready to examine. Taehyun's approach was different. Intense, possessive, ensuring everyone knew exactly who I belonged to. He took me to an underground club where Seoul's elite played in shadows, keeping me attached to his side while stunning women tried capturing his attention. He ignored them all. His hand on my thigh, his mouth at my ear, whispering things that made me blush, even as they made me feel desired in ways I'd never experienced. "You enjoy this?" he murmured, his thumb tracing circles on my inner thigh, just high enough to be dangerous. Being claimed publicly. I wanted to deny it, but my racing heart betrayed me. I struggled for words. "I enjoy feeling desired." His laugh vibrated through me. "Oh, little bride, you have no concept how much you're desired." He proved it by pulling me onto his lap in full view of everyone, kissing me with heat that made cheers erupt around us. I should have been mortified. Instead, I kissed him back, lost in the sensation of his hands on my waist, his taste, his complete focus on me. When we finally departed, stumbling into the back of the car with security discreetly averting eyes, I was intoxicated on attention despite not having consumed a single drink. Taehyun's hand remained on me the entire ride home, possessive and grounding. "You're dangerous." I breathed against his neck. "Am I?" His voice was smug. "Excellent." Back at the mansion, Jae-won was waiting, still in his business attire, looking exhausted until he saw us. Something flickered in his eyes. Not jealousy, but hunger. "Did you two enjoy yourselves?" Taehyun's grin was wicked. "Immensely. Your turn tomorrow." And so it continued, days of them alternating, displaying me, claiming me publicly, teaching me how to perform this role. But at night, when we returned home and I was alone in my room, reality crashed back. This was all pretend, preparation for Thursday's council meeting. They were exceptional actors, making me believe in moments that their touches signified something, that their kisses were genuine, that this could be more than a business arrangement. I was the fool believing the performance. Wednesday night, Jae-won knocked on my door around midnight. "Can't sleep." I was at the window observing Seoul's lights, anxious about tomorrow. He came to stand beside me, close enough that I could feel his warmth. "We'll protect you. Whatever they ask, whatever they imply, we'll be right there." "What if I make mistakes? Say the wrong thing?" He turned me to face him, hands gentle on my shoulders. "You won't, because it won't be acting, will it?" His eyes searched mine. "You feel it too. This thing between us, all three of us. It's becoming genuine." I wanted to deny it, but my voice wouldn't cooperate. "I don't know what's real anymore," I admitted. 3 days ago, I married you both to save my sister. Now I can't distinguish where the acting ends and truth begins." His hand came up, cradled my cheek with devastating gentleness. "Then stop trying to analyze it. Just feel." He kissed me slow and deep. Nothing like the performative kisses we'd shared publicly. This was honest, vulnerable, a confession without words. When he withdrew, my knees were weak. "Get some rest. Tomorrow changes everything." He left me trembling, my lips still burning from his kiss. Thursday arrived with the weight of Judgment Day. Mrs. Park dressed me in traditional Korean hanbok, expensive silk in deep burgundy with gold embroidery, hair styled traditionally, cosmetics subtle but flawless. When I viewed my reflection, I saw someone who could belong in their world. The twins wore traditional attire too, appearing like royalty from another era. "Ready?" Taehyun asked, his hand finding mine. I nodded, not trusting my voice. The council meeting was at the ancestral Kim estate, a sprawling traditional compound in the mountains outside Seoul. The drive took 90 minutes, tension thick in the vehicle, despite Jae-won's attempts at casual conversation. The estate took my breath away. Ancient beauty preserved through generations. Gardens appearing painted. Structures whispering of history and power. The council waited in the main hall. 15 men and women seated in a semicircle, all observing as we entered. Uncle Dong-woo sat at the center, his expression unreadable. Welcome, nephews, and the bride who has generated so much speculation. His voice dripped false warmth. We knelt on cushions before them, me between the twins, their presence anchoring me. The questions started immediately. How did you meet? An older woman with calculating eyes leaned forward. Jae-won answered smoothly, his hand finding mine. Through her art. We purchased one of her paintings months ago. Fell in love with her talent before we ever met her. And when you met? Dong-woo's eyes bore into me. Did you know who they were? I lifted my chin, channeling every bit of courage I possessed. No. I was delivering pieces to a gallery. They were there for a different exhibition. We discussed art, about Seoul, about life. I didn't know they were Kim's until our 4th meeting. The life flowed easily, rehearsed over the past days. How convenient. Dong-woo's smile was cold. A struggling artist capturing the attention of Seoul's most eligible bachelors. Some might call that calculated. Taehyun's hand tightened on my other hand. Careful, uncle. That's my wife you're insulting. The temperature in the room dropped. Another council member, a woman with compassionate eyes, intervened. The marriage is unconventional. Both brothers to one wife. How does that function? Jae-won's thumb stroked my hand. We've always shared everything since birth. Why should love be different? His voice was steady, convincing. Jasmine loves us both, and we both love her. It's simpler than people think. The kind woman smiled slightly. And you, dear child, you love them both equally? Every eye turned to me. This was it. The moment where my answer could destroy everything. I thought of my sister, healthy and hopeful in Germany. I thought of the past 3 days, the kisses that felt real, the touches that made me burn. I don't know if it's equal, I said honestly. Love isn't mathematics. Jae-won makes me feel secure, cherished, like I'm something precious he wants to protect. Taehyun challenges me, sees strength in me I didn't know existed, makes me feel alive in ways I've never experienced. I looked between them, saw surprise flicker in their eyes. Together, they're everything I didn't know I needed. So yes, I love them both, differently, but completely. Silence fell. I'd spoken from my heart, revealing truth I hadn't acknowledged even to myself. The twins stared at me, something shifting in their expressions. Dong-woo broke the moment. Pretty words, but love is more than words. Then let me prove it. Taehyun stood suddenly, pulling me up with him. Before I could process, he was kissing me in front of the council, not gently, not appropriately, but with the kind of passion that left no doubt about the reality between us. When he released me, breathless and dazed, Jae-won was there, turning me into his arms, kissing me with equal intensity, but different flavor. By the time they both released me, my face was burning, and the council was murmuring among themselves. Is that proof sufficient? Taehyun's voice was challenging. The kind woman was openly smiling now. I think we've witnessed enough. The marriage is clearly genuine, unconventional as it may be. Dong-woo's expression was frustrated. The council will vote. But even he could see the tide had shifted. We were dismissed while they deliberated, led to a waiting room with tea and uncomfortable silence. That was quite a performance, I said shakily. Jae-won's eyes were intense. That wasn't performance. Not for me. Taehyun moved closer, crowding me against the wall. Did you mean it? What you said in there? My heart hammered. Every word. His kiss was softer this time. Reverent. Good. Because we meant our vows. Even if you didn't realize it at the time. You're ours, Jasmine. Not because of a contract. Because we choose you. Jae-won's arms came around me from behind, sandwiching me between them. We're keeping you, he murmured against my neck. Long past 3 years. Forever if you'll have us. Before I could respond, a servant entered. The council has reached a decision. We returned to the hall, standing united. Dong-woo looked displeased, but he spoke clearly. The council recognizes the marriage of Kim Jae-won and Kim Taehyun to Jasmine Cole. She is now Kim Jasmine with all rights and protections of the family name. Relief crashed through me. We'd done it. The twins bowed respectfully, and I followed their lead. Thank you for your wisdom, Jae-won said formally. As we departed, I heard Dong-woo mutter, "This isn't finished." But for now, we'd won. The drive home was charged with energy I couldn't name. Both twins kept touching me. Hands on my thigh, fingers in my hair, casual intimacy that felt monumental. Back at the mansion, they led me to the living room rather than letting me escape to my quarters. "We need to talk," Taehyun said, pouring 3 glasses of wine. Jae-won guided me to the sofa, sitting close. "What you said today about loving us," I interrupted. I know it wasn't part of the script. I improvised, but it worked. So Taehyun cut me off with a kiss that tasted of wine and frustration. "Stop. Just stop pretending this is still fabricated for you." Jae-won's hand found mine. "We fell for you the moment we saw you in that hospital. Exhausted and terrified, but fighting for your sister. Everything since has only intensified it. We're in love with you, Jasmine. Both of us completely." The admission hung in the air. I looked between them. These 2 dangerous, powerful men who held my life in their hands, but were giving me their hearts. "I'm scared," I whispered. "This is too much, too fast, too intense." Taehyun's smile was gentle, unexpected. "Then be scared with us. We're terrified, too. This isn't how we planned our lives, but here we are." Jae-won added, "No more pretending. No more contracts. Just us figuring this out together." I took a shaky breath. Okay. We're really doing this." Taehyun's grin was triumphant. "We're really doing this." That night, they both stayed in my room. My choice, my invitation. We didn't do anything beyond holding each other, talking until dawn about everything and nothing, learning each other beyond the roles we'd been performing. I fell asleep between them, safe and claimed, and exactly where I belonged. Morning brought new routines. Breakfast together, hands touching casually, kisses goodbye that lingered. Jae-won went to his office, Taehyun to handle family business I didn't question. I went in my studio, painting for the first time since arriving, pouring emotions onto canvas. The days blurred into weeks. My sister's calls from Germany overflowed with joy. The treatment was working. She was getting stronger. Would be home in a few months. I didn't tell her about falling in love with both my husbands. Some truths were too complicated for distance. The twins' business kept them occupied, but they always made time for me. Date nights where one would take me somewhere magical while the other stayed home to greet us. Mornings where all 3 of us tangled together in bed, talking and laughing and kissing. It was unconventional and perfect and mine. Then came the night everything shifted. A charity auction at the Latte Hotel. The 3 of us dressed in designer perfection. The event was typical Seoul elite. Too much wealth, too much alcohol, too much ego. I was standing alone. The twins called away to speak with a business associate when a man approached. Older, intoxicated, his eyes raking over me in a way that made my skin crawl. "You're the Kim bride, the one married to both brothers. Tell me, how does that function? Do they take turns or do you service them together?" His hand grabbed my arm before I could retreat. I tried to pull away, but his grip intensified. "Don't be shy. I'm curious about the logistics." Then he was flying backward. Taehyun's fist connecting with his jaw with a crack that silenced nearby conversation. Jae-won appeared from nowhere, grabbing the man by his collar, slamming him against the wall. "You touched her." His voice was quiet, lethal. "Apologize now or I let my brother break every bone in your body." The man's eyes were wide with terror, blood streaming from his nose. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I was drunk." Taehyun's hand was on my shoulder, checking me over. "Did he hurt you?" His eyes were wild with rage. "I'm fine." He just grabbed my arm, but I was shaking. Adrenaline and shock making my knees weak. Jae-won released the man with a shove. "Security will escort you out. If we see you again anywhere, you won't walk away." They flanked me immediately, creating a barrier with their bodies, leading me out of the ballroom. We didn't speak until we were in the car. The door closed, privacy restored. Then Taehyun exploded. "I should have killed him. Should have buried him for touching you." His hands were shaking, violence barely restrained. Jae-won pulled me onto his lap, checking my arm where the man had grabbed me. His touch gentle despite the fury in his eyes. Did he say anything else? Do anything else? I shook my head, still processing how fast they'd moved, how completely they'd obliterated a threat to me. I'm okay, really. Taehyun's laugh was harsh. You're not. You're shaking. He moved closer, his hand on my face, forcing me to look at him. Listen to me. You're ours. Anyone who touches you without permission answers to us. We will destroy them completely. Do you understand? I should have been horrified by the violence in his voice. Instead, I felt safe, protected. These men would burn the world for me. I understand. Jae-won's arms tightened. We can't lose you. The thought of someone hurting you makes us capable of things we're not proud of. I kissed him, needing the contact, the reassurance that this was real. I know. I feel the same about you both. The rest of the ride home was quiet, charged. Back at the mansion, they didn't leave me alone. We ended up in my room, all three of us on the bed, them on either side like sentinels. Tell us if we're too much, Jae-won said softly. If the intensity frightens you. I thought about it honestly. It should frighten me. You both just assaulted a man in public for touching my arm. That's objectively terrifying. Taehyun's jaw tightened. But? I touched his face, then Jae-won's. But I've never felt safer in my life, which is insane because you're the most dangerous people I know. Jae-won's smile was melancholy. We're only dangerous to people who threaten what's ours. To you, we're just men who love you. The weeks turned into months. My sister came home from Germany, cancer-free, staying in the guest wing. She met the twins, approved, despite her initial shock at the arrangement. They love you, she said simply. Both of them completely. That's rare and precious. Don't question it. I stopped questioning and started living. The twins taught me their world. Business dinners where I charmed partners, family functions where I stood proud as their wife, quiet nights where we were just three people learning to love unconventionally. Then came the morning I threw up for the fourth day in a row. Mrs. Park found me in the bathroom, pale and shaking. How late are you, dear? Her knowing smile made my stomach drop. 3 weeks, maybe 4. She handed me a pregnancy test. The masters will be overjoyed. I took the test with trembling hands, watched as 2 lines appeared. Undeniable. Pregnant. With twins. The doctor confirmed it later that day. Identical twins because apparently my life wasn't complicated enough. I stared at the ultrasound image, 2 tiny heartbeats flickering, and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The twins found me in my studio that evening staring at a blank canvas. Love. Jae-won's voice was concerned. Mrs. Park said you've been in here all day. I turned, holding the ultrasound photos. I need to tell you something. Their faces when they saw the images. Shock, joy, wonder, fear, all cycling through in seconds. You're pregnant. Taehyun breathed. With twins. I nodded. The doctor thinks they're identical, just like you two. Jae-won hooped. Actually hooped, pulling me into his arms and spinning me around. We're going to be fathers. Taehyun was quieter, his hand trembling as he touched my still flat stomach. Ours. Really ours. The possessiveness in his voice made me smile. Really yours. That night, they were extra gentle, treating me like I was made of glass despite my protests. But their joy was infectious, planning nurseries and arguing about names and kissing my stomach like the babies could feel it. The pregnancy was textbook perfect. The twins doting on my every need to the point of absurdity. Jae-won researched obsessively, filling the house with pregnancy books and organic foods. Taehyun became even more protective, his hand constantly on my growing belly, his eyes tracking my every movement like I might disappear. You're being ridiculous, I told him one evening, watching him arrange pillows around me for the 10th time. I'm pregnant, not dying. His eyes were serious. You're carrying our children, our future. Nothing is more important. Jae-won sat on my other side, his hand joining Taehyun's on my stomach. He's right. You're everything now. The babies kicked constantly, especially at night when I was trying to sleep. Both twins took turns talking to my belly, singing lullabies, reading stories. They're going to be spoiled rotten, I laughed, watching Taehyun explain business strategy to my stomach. Absolutely, he agreed, kissing above my navel. Nothing but the best for our daughters. We didn't know the gender yet, but both twins were convinced we were having girls. The doctor's appointment to find out became a family event. Both twins, my sister, Mrs. Park, all crowding into the exam room. The technician smiled at our chaos. Ready to know? We held our breath. 2 healthy baby boys. The silence was profound. Then Jae-won started laughing, pulling me close. Boys. We're having sons. Taehyun looked stunned. Boys who'll look like us. God help us. But his eyes were wet. Emotions he rarely showed breaking through. My sister squeezed my hand. Boys are blessings. They'll have you both wrapped around their tiny fingers. She was right. From that moment, the twins became even more ridiculous, buying tiny suits in newborn sizes, painting the nursery blue, despite my protests that babies don't care about gendered colors. They were besotted with sons they hadn't met yet. I painted them throughout my pregnancy, capturing this strange, beautiful life. The contractions started 4 weeks early in the middle of the night. I woke to pain and wetness, my water breaking, panic flooding through me. Jae-won, Taehyun. My voice came out small. They were awake instantly, flanking me, calling doctors, getting me to the car. A flurry of controlled chaos. The drive to the hospital was the longest of my life. Contractions coming harder, faster. Taehyun held my hand so tight I thought bones would break. Jae-won was on the phone demanding the entire maternity ward be cleared for us. There early, I gasped between contractions. What if something's wrong? Jae-won's voice was steady despite the fear in his eyes. Nothing's wrong. They're just eager to meet us. The delivery room was chaos. Doctors, nurses, machines beeping. The twins refusing to leave my side despite hospital policy. I was too far gone to care about rules. Pain overwhelmed everything. Contractions coming so close they felt continuous. I can't, I sobbed. It's too much. Taehyun's face was in mine, fierce and focused. Yes, you can. You're the strongest person we know. Our sons are waiting. Push. So I pushed, screaming, breaking his hand probably. The world narrowing to pain and pressure and the overwhelming need to meet my babies. Then a cry, high and indignant, filled the room. First baby is here, the doctor announced. One more, Jasmine. You can do this. I was so tired. But Jae-won's voice in my other ear gave me strength. One more, love. One more push, and we're parents. You can do this. I pushed with everything I had left. Another cry joined the first. 2 voices announcing their arrival. Both boys are healthy. The doctor lifted them, showing me briefly before whisking them away to be cleaned. I collapsed back, exhausted and euphoric. The twins were crying, actually crying, kissing my face and my hands and thanking me over and over. You did it, Taehyun breathed. You brought them here. Jae-won's tears dripped onto my face. Our family. Our perfect family. They brought the babies back. 2 tiny bundles wrapped in blue. Identical faces, scrunched and beautiful. The nurse placed one in each twin's arms. Meet your sons. We stared at them. These perfect tiny humans we'd made. They need names, the nurse prompted gently. Jae-won looked at his son, then at me. What do you think? I'd thought about this for months. The one you're holding, Minho, brave and bright. And Taehyun's is Jiwoo, wisdom and protector. Both twins tested the names, saying them over and over. Minho. Jiwoo. Our sons. Taehyun's smile was brighter than I'd ever seen. Perfect. They're perfect. The first night in the hospital, both twins refused to leave. The nurses tried to enforce visiting hours, but one look from Taehyun had them retreating. We lay together in my hospital bed, carefully arranged around me, each holding a baby, learning their faces in the dim light. I can't believe they're real, I whispered. That this is our life. Jae-won kissed my temple. Believe it. This is forever. Taehyun added, you gave us everything. A family, a future, a reason to be better than we were. We'll spend our lives making sure you never regret choosing us. I looked at him, at Jae-won, at our sleeping sons. I could never regret this. You're my home. All of you. The weeks after were exhausting. Twin babies meant double everything. Double feedings, double diapers, double crying. But also double smiles, double love, double joy. The twins were hands-on fathers taking shifts with feeding and changing, learning alongside me. "I've got Minho," Taehyun would announce at 3 in the morning, scooping up our fussing son before I could fully wake. Jae-won would appear with Jiwoo, all of us gathering in the nursery, learning this new rhythm. My sister helped endlessly, teaching us tricks she'd learned. Mrs. Park kept the household running. We were a family, strange and unconventional, but ours. The mansion filled with baby sounds, laughter, love. 6 months after the boys were born, the twins planned something. They wouldn't tell me what, just said to dress nicely and be ready Friday evening. Mrs. Park and my sister promised to watch the babies, shooing us out with knowing smiles. The car took us to Seoul Tower, where a private restaurant waited at the summit. Seoul glittering below like scattered diamonds. The table was set for 3. Candles flickering, orchids everywhere. "What is this?" I asked as they led me inside. Jae-won pulled out my chair. "A celebration. Sit." They sat on either side, close enough to touch. Taehyun pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside were rings, delicate bands with intertwined diamonds. "Our wedding was quick, practical," Jae-won continued. "You never got the romance of it. So we're doing it now. Properly." He took my left hand where I still wore the simple band from our courthouse wedding. "Jasmine, you came into our lives as a business arrangement. You became our wife legally, but you made yourself our everything through who you are. Your strength, your love, your willingness to embrace this unconventional life." Taehyun took my right hand. "You gave us sons, a family, a future we never dreamed we deserved. We want to renew our vows here, now, with feeling behind every word." They slid the new rings on, stacking them with the originals. "Do you take us again?" Knowing everything now. Knowing this is real and forever. Tears streamed down my face. I never stopped choosing you. From that first night when I said yes to save my sister, through every moment since. I choose you both. Always. They each kissed a hand, their own tears falling. "We choose you," they said in unison. "For the rest of our lives and whatever comes after." The dinner was perfect, the conversation flowing, the view spectacular. But the best part was the certainty settling in my bones. This was my life. Not the one I'd planned, but better than I could have imagined. 2 men who loved me completely. Sons who were growing stronger every day. A family that defied convention but worked perfectly. As we drove home, I looked at them. Jae-won's gentle smile, Taehyun's fierce protectiveness, and knew I was the luckiest woman alive. Back at the mansion, we checked on the boys, sleeping peacefully in their cribs. "They're going to be trouble," Taehyun murmured, touching Minho's cheek with infinite gentleness. "They're going to have your spirit and our stubbornness." Jae-won wrapped his arms around me from behind. "And we're going to love every minute of it." We stood there, the 3 of us watching our sons sleep, and I felt complete. This life, this love, this family. It was everything. The contract that brought us together was long forgotten, replaced by something real and lasting. I'd married them to save my sister. I'd stayed because they saved me from loneliness, from a small life, from never knowing what it felt like to be loved this intensely. "Thank you," I whispered. "For choosing me." Taehyun turned me to face them both. "Always. In every lifetime, we'd find you and choose you." Jae-won's kiss was soft, perfect. Taehyun's was deeper, possessive. Together, they were everything. As we headed to our bedroom, the master suite we now shared, no more separate rooms, I looked back at the nursery one more time. My sons sleeping peacefully, my husband's walking beside me, my life unconventional and perfect. The storm that had fallen the night I'd made my choice seemed like a lifetime ago. That scared girl who'd climbed into an Audi to trade herself for her sister's life had become a woman who knew exactly what she wanted. Them. Always them. Both of them forever. And that was the greatest gift of all. So, family, what was your favorite moment? The council meeting, the pregnancy reveal, the birth? Tell me in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, beautiful people. See you in the next one. Don't click away yet. Check out our entire playlist. You're going to be absolutely blown away.